But without further ado, I'm going to introduce the amazing guest that we have here, Jonathan. And Jonathan is the creative consultant for Film Factory Global, a trailblazing film financing initiative that harnesses blockchain technology, offering stakeholders access to a diverse portfolio of movie projects and revenue streams through profit participation shares and direct involvement in the production process. And Jonathan is a media originator, beginning his career as a lecturer at New York University and an actor, appearing in the UK's longest running soap opera, Coronation Street, which I love, by the way, before disappearing behind the camera. I'm from Canada, so we love it. Disappearing, we know all about it. So before disappearing behind the camera and backstage as a producer of film and theater. Mr. Willis, it's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you, Anna. It's delightful to be here.
I'm going to disappear, but I'm still here, and the floor is yours. Go for it.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So the Film Factory Global, I've been asked to be a consultant of, because basically when I first started in the film world, I made the whole process inclusive. So we used to crowdfund for our movies, and we'd made movies big and small. I made about 40 different films now over the years. Some smaller, low-budget movies that we made on demand for Sony, Universal, and moving up to bigger pictures with stars like Gary Oldman and Jessica Alba and Michael Caine, etc. So, but in all those films, the people who managed to get them going were involved in the process of the movie making. So we had people as extras in the films. We had characters in the script named after people who helped get these products off the ground. We engaged their children to give them work experience, and not just in front of the camera, but also behind the scenes as well. So people in the makeup department, the prop department, the set build, the electrical department. There's so many different elements of making a movie, and we will be able to incorporate them into, I think we've probably given people work experience in every single department over the years. And it's a way to obviously develop skills, but also to get a foot on the ladder and to get a little bit of confidence going. And now, after, I don't know how long I've been doing this, 20 years or something, I mean, there are people who it's their job. They are now prosthetic artists in the movies. They're set builders. They are prop makers, and they are directors, film directors. So we've given people an opportunity, because we have a scale of low budgets moving up to higher budgets. We give people the opportunity on the low budget, which is obviously less risky, and then if they prove themselves, then we give them a bigger budget. And then we move them all the way up to the kind of the Hollywood movies, and I'm kind of proud of that. I'm pleased that we've been able to give people so much opportunity, and we want to continue that process through as I'm helping to guide and advise Film Factory. Now, Film Factory is effectively a blockchain crowdfunding company. So it's a way of getting movies off the ground, but in the kind of modern digital world. And we have a slate of movies moving forward that we're wanting to make. We've got a really exciting film called Crypto Heist, which is, as you imagine, it came about because I made all sorts of different genres of movies. We started with horror movies, which are relatively easy to make. We moved into, we did war movies, jail movies, we've done Western movies. Even in England, in the UK, we've made Western films that you wouldn't know from Arizona to Wyoming that they weren't made in America. And we've made comedies, romantic, etc. But I've never made a heist movie. And I love heist movies. I love The Italian Job. I love Ocean's 11, 12, whatever. Now You See Me, etc. But I never made a heist movie. So I commissioned a colleague of mine who lives quite locally, but is a real savant scriptwriter, a chap called Alex Hollister, and he's brilliant because he's the kind of person, he's the kind of writer. He lectures in writing as well, but he's the kind of writer who you get a script from him and literally you can't put it down, and you have to read it in one take because it just grips you. And not only that, the other thing about his scripts is that when you're reading it, you're playing it in your head, you're seeing it. So when he first sent that script through, what was it called? It was something like The Hateful Eight, but it wasn't quite that. But it was a thriller. And literally, as I was reading it, I've seen the film. I've already seen the film. And it's rare that you get a script like that. I mean, I read a lot of scripts, but I think I could, on one hand, the fingers of one hand, I could tell you that the really ones that knock your socks off. So I knew he was a really good writer. So I asked him, I commissioned him to write Crypto Heist. I came up with a fantastic story. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. It's partly set in Dubai, partly set in London. And it's got a lot of momentum behind it. So we've got, anybody in crypto really willing to be involved and play a part in the film, in a kind of like a cameo sense. So you remember watching Home Alone, and Donald Trump appears in the foyer of the hotel. It's like that, and we can build in everybody, any name that you can think of in crypto, mostly have agreed to be in the film, including some of the big Instagram YouTubers, Ran, Nuna, Crypto Banter, and Aaron Arnold of Coindaily, etc. So to build these into the script is going to be an enormous amount of fun, and we've got that, and that's a big one that we're starting in production of very soon. We've also got a slate of low budget movies. Some of these horror movies, some of these are thrill movies, and it gives us, by making quite a few of the low budget movies, as opposed to one or two of the bigger ones, we get the opportunity to give our stakeholders in the business more opportunities to be in the production. So effectively, what we're saying is, if you come on board with the company, then you can obviously participate in the profit opportunities of the films, but also you can actually be involved. So there's got a utility to the whole process as well, and the utility is being involved in the movies. Not necessarily yourself, but you might take a stake in order to give your kids an opportunity to be in the films. I mean, that's one of the motivations that for me is that I've got 5 children, and to give my kids the opportunity to be in films and is lovely. And actually they're quite good. Even if I say so myself, trying to be as dispassionate as possible, even though I'm a dad. And also they're very cheap, which is kind of useful. So they've been in the, and we were on a plane. When was it? We were going to Dubai quite recently, and we were looking at the airline entertainment system. And one of my daughters said, "Oh, that's me." And of course, she was in one of the movies that we made, and she was on the front cover of the DVD and Blu-ray in those days. And she was on the next Netflix film list for the airline, which was lovely to see. And so, other friends around, and they watched the movie that she was in when she was much smaller, which was great. Maybe that's given her inspiration to be in the film business, or not. But at least you give these things a try. And then we've given a really good director now. He's made some fabulous work, and we gave him his first opportunity. So, and that's rare that you get the chance to do that. His name is Mike, and Mike was working in what was he doing? He was doing explainer videos. I mean, really, really good explainer videos. So I remember seeing some of his work, and I needed an explainer video made, and I said, Mike, could you make this explainer video for me? And we had chat. Who are you? What do you want to do? He was a very, very good provider of explainer videos, and he wanted to be a director. So I said, well, look, here's a budget. It wasn't much. I mean, but you're guaranteed distribution here. If you can make a product that's good enough, you guarantee distribution. So he did, and he made it's a great film called Don't Let Them In. It's good ratings, and it was his first opportunity in the movie making world. From there, he really proved himself, and then he went on to make another film called Bloodshore, which was an interactive movie, which is actually not an easy thing to do, because an interactive movie. Can you get the dog? Because an interactive movie is a movie where you can change the course of the action as you go through the production. So if two people on a bridge, one person can get off the bridge, or the other person can go off the bridge and die, and you choose which one, and then depending on which one you choose, then you go around a different drama, and you can have different endings. So you can watch the film, and depending on the choices you make, you can watch like 8 different kind of versions. And so it's complicated. It's got a big wireframe that goes alongside it. And he made that, and he knocked it out of the park. I mean, did really well. It's got good rating design at IMDb. It's a clever concept. There'll be a linear version coming out very soon as well. Linear version, it means that a regular film movie without that you can't change. Choosing the best bits, because the idea of making an interactive movie is you can make two products at the price of one, effectively, because you have an interactive version and you have a linear version, 2 different audiences. Then he was commissioned to do a fantastic documentary by the Prince of Malaysia, an eco documentary, a 3-part, and the cinematography is just fantastic. And we will work with Mike again, and we're planning on doing so now, and his co-production partner Dan Harriman. So it's lovely to be able to give people opportunities like that, and we will absolutely continue to do it. If you see talent and you want to support it, and I think that's an element of what we've always done, and what we'll continue to do, and what we'll do through Film Factory Global as well. And because it's got film in the title, it's got factory in the title, which implies that we're going to be churning different products out. And global, we will be making films across the States, across the UK, in Europe, and also the Middle East as well, and not necessarily being restricted there. And that's great, because the more people that we can involve and the more opportunities that we can give to people, the more rewarding we'll be. It will be for us, because there's nothing better than, giving people a break. Talented people, and people who need that kind of just that foot on the ladder to help prove themselves. But also, it's not just that; it's also confidence building as well. So there's a lot of actors out there. I'm specifically talking about actors now, but it could be any different department. But they get better because they get more experience. The more experience you have, the better you get. And it's kind of a ascending spiral like that. So that's great. So it's no different to what we've always done. So anybody who becomes involved in Film Factory Global can also be in the product. So it's adding a real proper utility to the blockchain element of what we're creating. And we've got some great products. I mean, the other thing that we don't do is kind of repeat the same old stuff. That's just absolutely not necessary. It's nice to do new stuff and push the boundaries. Sorry, my glasses are a bit shiny. And that's what we can do, because we're inventive. Hopefully, we're inventive, and we like doing new things. So when I looked at Otherverse, I was walked through Otherverse by Peter and Corey and the team Nexus just recently, and I was blown away. I mean, I've been blown away twice by tech in the last month. I went down to the Apple Store and had a go kind of with the Vision Pro. If you haven't done that yet, you should do it. It's free. They'll give you half an hour free to go on a Vision Pro, and they'll talk you through it. It's fabulous. It blows your mind. The quality, what it does, how it tracks your eyes, and you think, actually, this is, you could do a film here within this environment that was seriously moving and immersive. I mean, I've previously tried the Quest, which was fun, but it's a little bit kind of DVD quality. But this is 4K. Don't buy one. It's ridiculously expensive. Vision Pro, like £3,500. I don't know what they are in America, but they're crazy expensive. But to experience it, it's well worth it. And I got that same buzz when I looked at Otherverse, and I was shown it, because I'd seen metaverses in the past, and they're a bit lame. They're a bit like Robloxy, you know, a bit dong, chunky characters. I think, well, and I just didn't warm to it. But I was looking at the technology of Otherverse, and God, it was fabulous. I was just blown away. And you can see where this can go from a filmic point of view. So yes, you'll be able to make a whole movie in the metaverse. You made a metaverse movie, because the tech will advance even further, and the definition will be even better. And the utilities will be even better. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great. But for now, we can still make a movie with it. But you would make a hybrid movie. And that's what we're planning on doing, if we're lucky enough to be allowed to do so, with Otherverse. And we would make a hybrid movie. So you would a part of the movie would be in the metaverse, and part of the movie in the real world. And you draft a script that, you know, melded both together. We were thinking about there was the potential to have a kind of crime caper. There was a thriller. There was a kind of a quest, and there was obviously the usual horror thing. But for somebody who's made quite a few horror movies, I actually like horror movies, so I'd rather not, to be honest. But yeah, we can come up with something more inventive than I can with my writing teams. We can come up with something very clever there. And of course, the lovely thing about it is, and the same with certain movies as well, is that it allows us to have branding opportunities. So obviously you can see the branding opportunities in the metaverse, the Otherverse, because it can be clothes, there can be posters, there can be neon signs, etc., promoting brands. I mean, the same way that James Bond is full of brands, and it doesn't detract from the excitement of the movie. You've obviously got Aston Martin there, you've got a Breitling watch or whatever. No, is it Rolex? Whatever. You've got, he's drinking a certain drink, etc. So yeah, I think I've heard a statistic where the James Bond movies makes $20 million up front just from product placement, and not necessarily in your face product placement. But we can see where that can go with the Otherverse, because you can have that all over the place, which obviously brings money into the production company, which means the production company can spend more money on talent. But that's not just actors and actresses. That's not just screen talent. That's also behind the scenes talent as well, which is equally as important. I mean, writers in particular get really short shrift, and they should not, because basically a writer is the person who's put all this together. They've played this movie in their heads, in their imagination. That's what they've come up with, and we've made it all happen around us, and the actors and the actresses have brought it to life. But you know, the more things that you can get, funds you can get in from product placement, the more money you can put on the screen. So I could see the opportunities there. I could see that a clever way that's never been done before of doing a hybrid. I don't know. You'd probably do a third in the metaverse and 2/3 in the real world, but melding that together. I thought the development of the tech has come so far forward now. It's where you would like to be. And it's interesting, when I was in the Apple store doing the Vision Pro demonstration, it was so clever and so overwhelming. But when you took the headset off, you were slightly disappointed to be back in the real world. And I can see that being the case of the metaverse as well. You can be absorbed there. But how amazing would it be if you were wearing a wraparound headset, whatever that headset may be. It could be the Vision Pro, it could be the Quest, or all the others that are around, and you actually lived within that environment. So you could look up, you look down, you look sideways, and you're within it, and it can actually move within it instead of it being just a screen and a 2D experience. So I can absolutely see where that can go. And that's going to be a really, really exciting development. And then as part of the company's progression, that we will be doing also mixing theatre and film. So we'll be doing multimedia event projects as well. In fact, we've got in mind a new kind of product category for theatre that involves film, it's live streamed, and that's something, because I always equate film and theatre. Film can take you here, so film is really, really, really good. You get such a kick out of it. It's amazing film. You take it here. If film's really bad, you can take it here. You can still get kind of like something out of it. But when theatre's really bad, it's really terrible. You just you would gnaw your arm off to get out of the theatre. But when theatre's really good, it can take you there. It gives you that extra bit of excitement that film can't do, because film's pre-recorded, whereas theatre's live. So, but the theatre now I find quite anachronistic. I love going to the theatre, but it's quite old-fashioned now. You've got basically, it's an us and them thing. So you've got senior march, you've got people on the stage, and they're doing quite melodramatic acting, and they're projecting their voices to the gods, because that's what you have to do in the theatre these days. It's a little bit Victorian. So there's a new product category that we're going to invent. So that'll come through Film Factory Global as well, because it will involve elements of film. And then we have the rights to a whole host of stories that have never been told, that need telling. Some of them on the website there, and there are others behind the scenes that we're developing, that are absolutely brilliant stories. And think, why hasn't this been told? This is crazy. They should exist as a product. So we have those, and then we also have collaborations with other colleagues who also run film production companies as well. And so it'll be a great opportunity to maybe take a stake in their project, just a small stake, but also that gives our stakeholders in the company, in the business, the opportunity to be in even more products. So they can be involved in, I've got an association with a big budget movie that's coming out of Saudi Arabia. And it gives people the opportunity to be in that. It's got big stars in it and that sort of thing as well. A lot of people, they've actually got 6 Oscar winners associated with it. So we've got a lot of opportunities here. We've got literally only just started, and I can see that next year, 2025. We've got a movie that could come out this year in 24, because although it's actually already shot and we just have to finish it off, that we've inherited. So that could come out straight away, and we can involve stakeholders in that immediately as well, in the final edit, in clever, interesting ways. And then 2026, we could have 6 or 7 movies come out, and then exponential growth. We could have 12 the next year, moving up to 20, etc. So it gives us the opportunity to involve so many people and give them a break, give them an opportunity. And I think it's important to emphasize that we don't just make just another movie. We constantly strive to be inventive and innovative, and thinking what's not been done and what can we do. And that's why I was so excited and blown away by Other of Us, because I could see it immediately. It's one of those things you as soon as you see it, you think, we've got to do something here. It just sparks your imagination. You can see where the tech's gone. You can see where all the development's gone in that. And I love the different rooms and the different spaces and the things you can do. And It's absolutely captivating, and it's not just for kids. You can see this as being something that I when I was looking at it, I thought that there's so much scope there. I also think there's a scope for a family entertainment movie as well, because I'd love to do something that's family oriented, like a Christmas movie. We've got a really good idea for a Christmas film. Nice thing about Christmas film is it comes out every year, keeps going around. It never goes out of date like the old Christmas songs and etc. And then I'd love to do a faith movie as well. And we've got a really good story for a faith movie, but it's actually quite expensive, so we might have cut it back a bit. Depends on funds and how successful we are with the company. So yeah, my job is basically to help guide, help provide the product. You make 40 films, you've made quite a few mistakes during that process, and hopefully you've learned from that, so you won't make those. So you're taking that kind of ability to the project, which will be good. Really good bunch of people associated with it, and I'm proud to be working with who have fabulous track records, both on the creative side in the film business, but also from the administrative side, and also on the tech side as well. So yeah, it's I've met some of those people quite recently over the last couple of years, and I'm very proud to be working with them. They really are the best of the best, and there's kind of no dead wood. So I'm very pleased there. And we also have because basically we're going to be doing a lot of work in America. We've associated ourselves with a number of American companies, American film companies, American studios. So this is basically Florida, California, Chicago, and Georgia. So we can be making product in all those places as well, and and possibly New York as well. So we can give people opportunities all over the States.
Jonathan, there's some excitement going on in the chats that I'm seeing as I'm looking around, and I have some questions coming in. Am I able to ask you a few of those?
I love them. Please.
Perfect. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I'm just looking at the time and I'm saying, you know what, I better ask these questions. Let me get them in here.
Sure.
I mean, the biggest question that I'm seeing and that I know that people want to do is, how can they get involved? I think let's start there. Like, what is the main question is, how can they get involved? And I know there's different ways, different sides of it. So, you mentioned an actor, if you're a director, if you're a writer, what if you're just a fan? How can you get involved in this? If you're a fan of movies?
You don't necessarily have to be, you don't have to want to work on it. You can just observe and participate. And you can, a stakeholder in the company can come on set and meet the actors. You can come to the wrap party. You can come to the VIP red carpet premiere, all that kind of stuff as well. And there's opportunities to have signed copies of this and take a piece of the set home if you want, obviously, when it's been finished working. So I think the best thing to do would be to register at the company's filmfactoryglobal.com, filmfactoryglobal.com, one word, and there's a registration page there, and we'll be in touch. There's two ways of being involved, basically, which suits every pocket, and that's with the company itself. And in order to be involved in the profit participation element, it's SEC regulated and called a Reg D, Regulation D. It's basically effectively high net worth individuals. So that there's an element of a hope to be hurdle there, and then you have the utility as well. However, what we also have is a crypto token as well, which will be running alongside, and that's just a utility token. So and we'll bring details of that shortly. But if you hold that token, well, I can actually, yes, it's mickey-meme.com, Mickey M-I-C-K-E-Y, Mickey meme M-E-M-E, mickey-meme.com. And if you hold that token, then which anybody can do, then that's just utility. So that's utility. So they both have utility, which is basically the utility being participation in the films, but the Reg D stakeholder element for Film Factory Global also has the profit participation. So it's entirely up to you who you are, how you want to in your situation, how you want to play it. But we like to be as many people to be involved as possible, because it's easy to be involved people. And not only, obviously, you've got extra roles, and then we write films so that there are lots of parts. So there are, crowd scenes, so people can be involved in that way, but not just that, because there's a lot of talent out there, and we have done, and we have just recently done. We've reached out to the community, because we've got quite a big Telegram community, which I think people should join. I can't remember what it's called. Hang on. Telegram community. Where is it? Perhaps we can put a link. Oh, Mickey Meme Coin. 3 words. Mickey, as in Mickey Mouse. Mickey Meme Coin on Telegram. So that's quite an active community as well. So that works really well. And we ask people for self-tapes. So we'll give you, if you want to be an actor, or an actress, if you'll give you a script, and then you do a tape at home and you send it in, and we can cast from that. And that's so much more efficient way of doing things. And you find talent. You really do find talent. So we made a movie in the summer, not this summer, last summer, called One Night in Bath, a romantic comedy in Bath. And there was a girl from somewhere in Florida. I forgot the name of it. Anyway, and she became one of the lead parts in it, because she sent in a self-tape. And she was really good. She was really, really good. So we try to find really good talent and give them a break. So, but that's not all that we do as well. I mean, there's a lady who runs a dance school, and her son wanted to be a cinematographer. It was his thing. And we gave him work experience working with a director colleague as an assistant cameraman. Now he's thriving. I mean, he's got his own equipment, he's booked out, and his work is fantastic. Again, just giving people, that kind of step onto the ladder. So that's that kind of department. But there's also, there's so many people involved in making movies. One of my jobs as kind of producer or as executive producer is to put the end roller together. At the end of a film, the names that come up. It's basically an Excel spreadsheet, and you just have to enter everybody's details, the title, and their roles. But only you can do it, because if you miss anybody out, they get really pissed off. Quite right too, so you've got to be really, really careful. So that's part of the job that I do and oversee. And what's interesting about that is that when you're putting down the spreadsheet of all the involved parties, this could come to 200 lines on the spreadsheet. You remember those rollers, they go for on and on and on and on and on, especially in a big movie forever. And it could be 300 lines. And some of those lines are companies. And those companies have multiple employees. So you, as a person, just sitting which we do sometimes, in a pub in the UK or a bar in America, and having a drink and a chat, and you think, hey, I've got an idea for a movie. And you throw it out there, and you think, that's such a really good idea. Now, you don't do anything about it straight away, because you've had a few drinks, okay? You wait until the morning, then you see if it's still a good idea. And then if it is a good idea, then you get on with it. And so from that little kind of kernel, germ of an idea, then you put the financing, then you get script commission, you put the financing together, then you bring a team together, the producer and the director and sets and the casting, then you film it, then you go into post-production, and then you have all the CGI and you edit it and put the music in, and eventually it becomes a finished product with a spreadsheet with 200 or 300 lines, which wouldn't exist if you hadn't had that stupid idea in the pub. And I think that's quite sweet. I quite like that. And then looking down all those names that you've involved, that's great. If you can give, 20% of those people a break, who are part of this community, the Film Factory Global community, We haven't actually launched the Film Factory Global officially yet, but the Mickey Meme exists, but we haven't filmed that. It hasn't been launched yet, but we're just doing the socials now, and literally it's just now. But people asked me to come and speak, so I speak about it.
Well, I love it because we're on the ground floor, and I know this is a great opportunity for people who maybe have just been fans and now they could potentially be a producer, which is something, you know, that they may not have even thought would be possible. So this is a great opportunity to, so thank you for bringing this project forward. And even though I know it's very, very new, we have a couple other questions actually that I want to just make sure that we get to, because we only have about 8 minutes left here. So the next question is, and you've answered a couple of them actually. So you answered, will there be a token? So you've done that already. You also answered what stage is everything in? So great. The next question I have is, will Crypto Heist the movie be a global release, and will the tickets be available to be purchased with cryptocurrency?
That's a good idea. Yes, the answer is yes, of course. It's a fabulous script. It's going to be it's a proper global movie. So it's not a huge budget in the Hollywood stand. I've got friends who make stupid budget movies. We don't waste any money. You know, it's a reasonable budget movie. It's a few $1 million. And it's going to be great. And it's going to have all these little cameos I mentioned. It's going to have some A-list cast. The script is fantastic. It's going to have some fabulous glossy locations. Obviously, Dubai is billions of dollars worth of backdrop for free. London's full of interesting locations as well. Yeah, it's a proper global release. I mean, you're never quite sure. Every film that we've made over the past has all had distribution. I've never made a film that hasn't had distribution, which I think is quite rare. It's like 100% track record of getting, because I don't want to waste time. You know, you don't make something and it doesn't get out there. So we've either got pre-guaranteed distribution or we've got distribution after it's been made. With this one, I think we'll get distribution whilst it's been made. So basically, sometimes during the production process, you cut a little, called a sizzle reel, and you can send that around to distributors and get them all interested. If a company like Netflix is interested, and obviously they could take the world rights, or same with Amazon Prime, etc. Or you might have a distributor like Lionsgate or Sony, Universal, who would then take it and they'll release it in all the territories. But it's a proper, international movie. And interesting now with AI, it's possible to dub movies into, or subtitle movies into so many different languages so quickly and so much more cheaply than it ever was before. It used to be like $6,000 every language. Now it's like $16,000 for the world. So to get it as a kind of global release, yeah, but it will, absolutely. And we'll have red carpet premieres in the States. Of course,
Love that.
All over. Yeah.
Love that. Our next question, Jonathan, is what is the difference between using Web3 to crowdfund versus, say, a Patreon or a Kickstarter, sort of more of a traditional Web2 version? So what's the difference between using blockchain versus like a Web2 Patreon Kickstarter?
Kickstarter doesn't really apply because Kickstarter is philanthropic. You don't get anything back other than benefits from Kickstarter. They've got to be tangible benefits. You don't get any profit participation opportunity with it can't be commercial. But there are other crowdfunding platforms out there where you can take equity stakes in those companies. Now, the big difference is that those equity stakes that you take in either businesses or products like movies are pretty illiquid. Where are you going to find a buyer? If it's a big company, then you could potentially go for a flotation, and then you have a market maker and a stocks and shares, and the market maker, a broker. That's what I mean, market maker and a broker, and they find you a buyer for your stocks and shares, and they make their cut in the middle. It's cumbersome, it's expensive, and it's slow. Whereas with putting your effectively your shares in the business on the blockchain, you're cutting out the middleman, you're cutting out the market maker, you're cutting out the broker, and you're going direct to people who want to buy and sell freely, like you do with cryptocurrency. So and the market dictates what the value of those cryptocurrencies are. Sorry, the cryptocurrencies of your shares. So basically, it's the modern way of stockbroking, I suppose. So that's what that's why it makes it a little bit different. The technology has only just started to come on board. It's quite a lot of regulations. It's got to be SEC regulated. It's at the moment it's going to be Schedule D. We may eventually push for Reg A at some time, but that's a more long-term and cumbersome process. But we just kind of want to get it out there now for now. But yeah, that's basically the difference. It's democratizing. I think that's the word. With the process of having a stake within Film Factory Global is democratizing the shareholding process, and what we do with movies, allowing people who are involved in our community to be involved in the movie making process, is effectively also democratizing the filmmaking process. So it's not elitist in both respects.
100%. I know myself, with my background in film, I will definitely be in touch with you. I am very excited about this project. I think it is absolutely wonderful, and I am excited to see the future of the Film Factory. You have 2 minutes left, Mr. Willis. Please use this time to let anybody know and everybody know how they can get a hold of you, how they can reach you, and any last words that any last thoughts that you might have.
I think to join the community would be great, because that's where we promote, we get everybody together, and there's a really good community. I mentioned Mickey Meme Coin on Telegram. We don't really do Discord. I don't like Discord so much, but Telegram is really good, and that's quite an active, thriving community, and lots of participation there. So you've got lots of participation in promoting and being involved, being excited about the project, and then of course registering at filmfactoryglobal.com, and I think there's a registration page there. There should be anyway, or you could actually just email hello at, let me just check that, hello@filmfactoryglobal.com, and that comes through to me, and then we can, well, if it don't come through to me, come through the team and it'll be sent to me. So I can say hello that way. So it would just kind of, you don't have to do anything at the moment. Just step on board, just watch this process take place as we are developing it, as we are forming it. It's nascent. I think it's exciting. I think the products that we will produce will be different and exciting. We'll be always pushing at boundaries, never doing the same thing twice, never doing what somebody else has done, doing all the stuff that people have never even thought of. That's the exciting thing in terms of creativity and product, and then presenting that in an interesting, different way. So through the utility coin, and also through the blockchain stakeholder process with the Film Factory Global company. So yeah, I love new stuff. I love inventing new stuff and being involved in pushing boundaries, and being innovative. And that's basically what we're going to do here. And that's the kind of people I'm surrounded with. And I'm proud and pleased to be associated with them, and glad they thought of me, bringing me on board, just mainly kind of creatively. And we've got so much we can do. So much we can do. I mean, there's as I mentioned earlier, that the films, the metaverse element, the Vision Pro stuff, the AI stuff, the film and theater combo stuff, the kind of immersive element and multimedia. We're not going to stop inventing, and we'd love you to be along for the ride.
And I know that our listeners would love to be along for the ride as myself. And we look forward to seeing what Film Factory Global does, and we'll all be a part of it. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for being a part of VirtualCon 2024. We really appreciate you kicking off our day 2, and best of luck with everything with Film Factory.
Thanks, Anne. Huge pleasure. Loved it.
Loved having you, and we hope to have you again. And we look forward to seeing you in Otherverse and making that movie.
I'll be there.
Awesome. We'll see you soon. All right, guys, that was Mr. Willis, and stay tuned right here at 12 p.m. in 10 minutes. We're going to be having Trading Cryptocurrencies with Doug Kyle and Deb Caswell. So don't go anywhere. Don't go too far. We'll be right back in 10 minutes. Thank you, everybody.